Oh,
Start.
okay.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. How are you? We're so happy to be here. Let me go back to.
Yeah.
Hi.
Here we are.
There we go. Hi. I'm Rita Platt,
I'm John
and
Wolfe.
my beautiful, handsome husband, John Wolfe, is here, and we are so happy to be here to chat with you today about great ways to engage the community to help all of your students be readers and successful in school in general. So I'm going to get started by switching to the PowerPoint. Okay, and here's just a little information about us. And I'll just give you a brief introduction. I'm Rita Platt again, and I am a nationally certified teacher. Teach all levels and have experiences all over the country, but now live and work with my family in Niagara Falls, Wisconsin. And this is my sweetheart, John Wolfe.
And I'm John Wolfe. I am an ESL teacher and program facilitator for the Minneapolis Public Schools. And in this hour today, what I am is kind of a thinking partner on the incredible work that we're doing at St. Croix Falls Elementary.
Okay, before we move forward, there's a couple things we want to share. One is that every resource that we share with you today, including all handouts and anything you might need, is available to you on our wiki space. And let's see, Carolyn is telling us the sound is bad, and I'm not sure how to fix that, Carolyn. The other thing is you'll notice there's a hashtag for the session. It says the Ed Collaborative Gathering Space number 15, and that's where you can tweet out to us. And we will share that with you on almost every slide. So if you have forgotten where the hashtag is or how to find the information, you can peek on most slides and find the URL and the hashtag. Okay, so I'm going to start just by sharing a little bit with you about the wonderful school where I teach. We are located, John and I live right on the border of Wisconsin and Minnesota, about an hour north of the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I teach at a pre-K-4 elementary school called St. Croix Falls Elementary School. It's a public school. We're Title I, which means we have high levels of poverty, and those poverty levels increase every year. I've been there for about, this is my 7th year that I'm finishing up, and love every minute of it. We, again, despite having high levels of poverty and a poverty level that grows every year, we are successful on all measures. One measure, of course, are standardized testing. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure what I mean if I got. Let's see if this works. Carolyn, can you hear us? Is that better?
Wait, I think we. Yeah.
Okay.
See if that works.
Sorry about that. One measure that we look at, of course, is standardized tests.
Another sound.
Okay, can you hear us now? Okay. Sorry about that, friends. I'm not sure what happened there. That's the the good and bad side of technology here. So, okay. One of the ways that we've been so successful at St. Croix Falls Elementary School is that we have really harnessed the power of engaging the community and supporting the school. So I'm going to share some of our foundational beliefs, but before I do, if you notice again up in the upper right-hand corner of the slide, you can see the hashtag and the wiki space where John and I share all our materials, so you can use them as well. So our foundational beliefs. One, we truly believe that when the community supports your goals, your work is easier. Two, we believe that community engagement projects do not need to be complex. In fact, they can be very simple and still meaningful and successful. Three, we believe that sometimes community engagement is just about nurturing mutual understanding, support, and love between the school and the public. And the last foundational belief that guides our work is that public schools need good press. Okay, we're going to share a little bit of theory with you, theory and philosophy. And the first thing we're going to chat with you about is Epstein's types of family engagement. Okay. Joyce Epstein is a psychologist who studied what kinds of things families can do to be engaged and how family engagement plays out in the daily classroom and the daily lives of kids at home. So one thing that her work really reminds, when you look at what she did here, she talks about engagement in types, and she shares 6 types of engagement. One thing that I think it's important to notice is that the types are not levels, they're not hierarchical, they're just types, and all types are good because all engagement is good engagement. So as a teacher, I found that sometimes I would be let's see, what's the word? I would be kind of stuck in my own ways about what I thought was important for engagement, and had some pretty serious beliefs about parents coming in to volunteer or making kids do homework. And when I looked at Epstein's research, what I found was that I needed to lay back a little bit and remember that all engagement is good engagement. And when you look even at the type called communicative, the second type, that's simply parents returning paperwork, responding to calls and texts.
Try it now.
Can you hear us now? Well, okay, we're back. Hopefully that'll be the last time we have to fool around with that, but we can make no promises.
Are you muted now?
Nope. Okay, so let me go. Let's finish up with Epstein and move forward a little bit and talk about another researcher who can help us understand family engagement. Okay, John?
So when we try to understand our schools, one of the resources we work with is John Hattie, the New Zealand educational scholar, who did that famous meta-analysis where he looked at all of the meta-analyses, which were statistical efforts to bring together empirical research on educational topics, and he combined them all using higher math in order to identify something like the 138 factors that affect student learning. And he ranked them from the most powerful, from most powerful to least powerful. And one of those he looked at was this question of parental involvement in learning, because that's something that as teachers we always feel must be important. We feel like it's something that we focus on. And part of what he came up was this: when he looked at the actual empirical studies of what effect that learning seemed to have, he came up with the idea that parental aspirations were the most important influence on the children's achievement. In other words, if parents believe in the educational mission of the school, if they believe that their students should do well, if they believe that the school will educate their students, that is an important factor. On the other hand, what wasn't so successful was anything that can be thought of as parental supervision or surveillance activities, monitoring students' homework, putting limits on TV watching, checking the backpack, grounding them from going out with friends. Those tend to have a negative effect, and the older kids get, the greater the negative effect on learning is. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that that's often what we want, that what we're kind of asking parents to do when we contact them. And Hattie's research, the best research out there, suggests that that might not be such a great thing. Another thing that what we try to use instead at St. Croix Falls Elementary is working with Robert Cialdini's idea of social proof. And what he said was, in the end, people tend to follow the most popular course of action. That makes sense. If you don't know what to do, look around at what other people are doing. That's probably the best thing in that situation. Okay, so what he did was, he was an interesting, he did some consulting or some experiments with Yosemite National Park, the petrified forest, where people tend to be walking away with the rocks from there. Well, what they did was they designed two types of signs to warn people away. One of them had a bunch of kind of bad-looking people kind of taking the rocks away, and a sign that said, many visitors have removed petrified wood from the forest, changing the natural state of the petrified forest. Idea, please don't do that. Okay. The second sign actually just showed a beautiful shot of the petrified forest collection, and then showed somebody not taking the wood and saying, please don't remove the petrified wood from the park in order to preserve the natural state of the petrified forest. So two different messages. One message shows someone not doing the bad thing. One message shows a bunch of people doing the bad thing. What happened? Well, let me see what happened. Oh, there it is. What happened was that in the case where taking petrified wood, where doing the bad thing was shown as a social norm, it actually increased up to 8% of all the visitors taking wood. On the other hand, in the case where the norm was established as not taking wood, it went down a little. The point is that if you tell people folks do this bad thing, they'll tend to do it. If you tell people folks do something good, they'll tend to do that. That's what we try to key into at St. Croix Falls. Another thing is to keep in mind group socialization. When we think who are the folks that are important to our students, it's not so much what parents and teachers do. Judith Harris, another researcher, tells us kids don't so much want to be like their parents and their teachers, they want to be like older kids. So one thing you want to do is you want to make sure that the model that they're paying attention to, the ones who we show as reading, for instance, are other kids in the school, the popular kids, the best kids. And so part of the message at St. Croix Falls is that St. Croix Falls kids read, and they look around them, they see their peers reading, they see their friends reading, they see the older kids reading, and they think, oh, okay, this is a school where we read.
So in St. Croix Falls, that's just what we do. We harness that group socialization theory, and in St. Croix Falls, we read. It's what we do. It's the social norm, and kids conform to it. You can see in this little picture, there's a little girl. She's about 2 years old, and it's a post on Facebook where the mom says, one of Mrs. Platt's future readers, Kinder 2020. Social norm is reading in this town. Now, what we're about to do is share some ideas with you. And some of them are really easy to implement, and some of them are really, really hard. Again, at the bottom of every slide page, there's a link to the materials that you might want to use if you decide to try this at your school. And if you go to our wiki site, you can download the PowerPoint. So let's look at some practical ideas. Okay, I'm going to start with a program we did this year called Books Without Borders. And this was a partnership between the public school librarian and the elementary school. And what we did was we made a challenge for the community. We put together this little challenge sheet, kind of like a bingo sheet, and we asked kids to read about people and places and ideas that were different from the norm in their experiences. That's why we called it Books Without Borders. We wanted kids to read their world. And their challenge was to complete 6 of the 9 activities. And if they did complete 6 of the 9 activities, then they would be involved in a celebration with this public librarian and me. We also did a similar challenge for parents because, again, and all community members actually, because we want reading out in the community. We want kids to see it as the norm. So here you see the parent or the adult version of the same challenge, Books Without Borders for Grown-ups. And you can see a couple of displays at the public library that Martha Clumfer, a public librarian, set up for us. It turned out to be just a wonderful experience. We had many kids participate and some adults participate as well. And at the end, when the kids were all done, they turned in their sheet, and Martha and I picked 10 kids to come over to my house, to John and my house, and we cooked, well, Martha mostly cooked, a wonderful dinner of foods from all over the world. And the kids talked about the books they read and ate the meal. It was really a great, great experience. Okay, another idea I want to share with you, another thing we did was called the Big Read, Little Read. And if any of you are familiar with the National Endowment for the Arts, they do something called the Big Read, and it happens all over the nation. And what that is it's a community read. Communities choose from an assortment of books that the NEA suggests, and then the whole community reads the book and talks together. Well, what we did, the public librarian and I, is said, well, let's pair that with a little read. So here's some examples. A few years ago, Louise Erdrich's The Round House was the big read. And so we said, well, let's have the kids read a book by the same author called The Birch Bark House. This year, it's The Maltese Falcon is the big read for grown-ups, and the little read is The Boxcar Children. And what we do is we ask everybody in the community who is participating in the big read to also participate in the little read. And what that means is that the adults in the community will read the little read book, the kids read it, and then we come together usually in May to share with the community and talk about the books that we read. So here's an example of one of our celebrations where the adults from the community are sitting with kids. We try to do picnics, but we live in Wisconsin and it was cold last year, so we're in the library. And the kids just bring their lunch in and chat about the books they read with the community. Again, it's a simple way to get kids to see St. Croix Falls as a community where we all read. That's social proof. All of us read, and look, you can see this because adults are in here sharing books with you. Okay. So another example is what we call the I Did a Read. I had the wonderful experience of living in Alaska for about 10 years and still hold it people and countryside near and dear to my heart. And I celebrate that with kids by doing something we call the I Did a Read. And this is another really simple way to engage the community. What the I Did a Read does is it takes the fun of the Iditarod, the big sled dog race in Alaska, and pairs it with reading. We make a little sheet, a little informational sheet and a way to record reading, and the kids take it home, and their goal is to read 1,049 minutes before the musher they picked reaches Nome, Alaska, which is a 1,049-mile ride. The kids take their I Did a Read sheets home. And the way this really connects nicely with the community is that we ask not only that the kids count their minutes, but that anybody on their mushing team counts their minutes. So I did a read while the mushers run the Iditarod. So what you have is kids going home and getting their big brothers and sisters and moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas and anybody who they want on their team to read. And everybody's minutes count. The whole family gets to read together and enjoy books. Okay, this is another, at the beginning, we talked about how some of the ideas we would share would be really simple, and some of the ideas we would share would be really challenging. This is one of the most simple ideas for building a community of readers that we can share with you, but it's one of the most powerful. It's positive phone call initiative. And what we're talking about here is having your staff come together and agree that they will make positive phone calls to every student at least once per year and sometimes several times per year. I linked on the slide and on the wiki page to an article that we wrote about our initiative called Positive Phone Calls Like Money in the Bank. And we talk about it like that because anytime you call parents and make a positive interaction with them, that's going to work well for you later in the future when you need to communicate with parents, particularly if you want to talk with parents about how to help kids read more or finish their schoolwork or whatever it is. So on the article, and I'll show you here on the screen again, you'll find that we included sample scripts for those who feel a little less comfortable calling home, and an idea for a school improvement goal for your school. Okay. Now, for folks who are not interested in making phone calls home, we recognize that that's something that some people feel really uncomfortable with. Although in our experience, if you call 2 or 3 times, you stop being uncomfortable calling. And the best part about making positive phone calls home is how happy parents are to hear from the school in a positive way. It gets easier every time you do it because it's so exciting to see how happy the parents are. That said, we realize that that's not for everybody. And so texting is a viable option too. In fact, honestly, John and I, for younger parents, texting may be a better fit than phone calling. I know John and I are pretty much the only people left on earth who still use voice-to-voice conversations on the phone. It's all about texting now. So for texting, that can be as simple as just texting parents when you see kids doing a good job. Honestly, all day long, I think of my cell phone, my smartphone, as my number one most important teaching tool. It's in my pocket all day because I can text pictures of kids reading to parents. I can text quick little messages that says, I love the way your little boy smiles, or your boy said something funny. It's an easy, quick way to connect with parents very positively. And especially if you're sending pictures of kids, it's an easy way to connect with them about reading. So there's two suggestions for texting. One is I just want to share that there's a program called remind.com. If you haven't checked it out, it's great because what you can do is get parents to sign up to your account, and then you can send out text messages to the whole group at once. Now, you can pre-program those texts too. There's a great study out of Stanford. It was done with preschoolers, but what they found out was that when they texted, when they set up scheduled texts to parents with just simple reminders, things like read a book with your child tonight, or did you know that playing rhyming games with kids boosts reading skills? Really simple things like that had a really incredibly positive effect on their growth as in literacy. And so now, while the research hasn't been done to our knowledge to this date for kids above 4K pre-kindergarten, it seems to follow that that would be effective for parents of elementary school aged kids as well. Okay, this is another super simple idea, but I would say in my 21 years teaching, it's been the most effective way for me to communicate and collaborate with family members. And that's using Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter. Now, in my community, we're really a Facebook community, and most of the parents are on Facebook, and it's a great way to communicate. I tend to use my personal Facebook as much as I use the school Facebook, although again, that's about personal comfort, and some people just want to use their school account. That's fine. Facebook allows you to make a page or a group so that you can make it for just your classroom or for your whole school. And you can see here's an example of the kinds of things that I send out, again, on my smartphone, which is in my pocket all the time. You can see it says a message from me. Oh, my word, Ro just passed a $5 book. It was at the 4th grade level. So proud of him, yay. And then Mom got back to me right away. It's real-time communication and collaboration with parents. And again, it builds that social proof that John talked about. St. Crispile's is a community where we read. And here's just another example of the kinds of things that I send on Facebook. Pictures of kids reading, pictures of kids feeling proud of themselves.
Again, positive association with reading and the image of kids as readers.
It's really powerful. It's, again, so simple, but kids come and tell me every day their mom saw their picture on Facebook last night, and their mom and dad was really proud of them. And it's just a small little thing we can do that not only makes kids feel really good, which is important, but also makes parents aware of what's happening in the school day, and everybody focuses together on reading. Okay. Here's another thing I just wanted to share with you. I also publish on Facebook a lot about my own life as a reader, and John does as well. So here's an example. I use Goodreads, like many of you do, I'm sure, to monitor my own reading habits and to remember which books I've read and so forth. And Goodreads allows you to set a goal for how many books you would like to read each year. And so when I met my goal, here is an example of me sharing when I met my goal with the whole community. And again, it's super powerful because the next day after I posted this, I had kids coming up to me and congratulating me for meeting my goal. And it showed, again, reading is not just a school thing. Reading is a life thing. And all members of the community read and enjoy reading. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about family nights there, because often when people talk about community engagement, family nights is something that comes up. And I love family nights. We do many, many family nights.
My PLC, my professional learning community, is comprised of specialists. I'm the librarian, and we have the Phi Ed teacher and the music teacher, art, and the counselor. And we try together to plan at least 6 family nights for the school each year, and often many more. Here are some we've done in the last several years: science nights, math nights, parent academies where we have parents come in and learn about the curriculum, art nights, music nights, reading with a teacher, my favorite one, the most simple one. This is where we just invite people into the library to cuddle up and read with us. English language art nights, potluck nights, which are becoming more rare because policies prevent us from having potlucks, game nights. What I really want to point out is it doesn't matter what the theme of the family night is. The point is that you're making connections. So we're talking today about how community engagement can impact reading achievement. And really, the truth is, even a math night can be really impactful for reading achievement, because when you make those connections, you can talk to kids and parents and encourage them to do things they didn't know they could do. I want to read with you the words of a 4th grade teacher that I work with, because for me, they really resonate with Epstein's work about types of engagement and about keeping it simple and that being a good way to build community ties. Here's what this teacher says. She says, "The best family night I ever had was one where I just asked parents to come to a local park and share a meal together. There was no formal talk about schedules or school rules. I didn't make a big presentation. Everybody just brought a dish to share, and I ordered a few pizzas just in case. The kids sat in small groups together, and so did the parents. We all introduced ourselves, and after dinner and played games of get to know you bingo. Many new friendships were formed. I brought my own husband and children, and I felt like the parents and students viewed me as a whole person rather than as a teacher who lives in the school, as some certainly thought before that night. It really helped build community and positive culture that lasted all year in my room." And the thing to reflect on there, going back to what John told you about John Hattie's research, is that one of the highest effect strengths, one of the things that is most important in leading to academic success, are teacher and student relationships. So if we want students to be successful readers, we need to engage the community in a way that allows us to make strong relationships with our parents and our students. And that is more important perhaps than a family night where you discuss the Common Core standards or discuss the school curriculum. It's about building relationships. And let me just show you a slide with some pictures so that you can see the kinds of activities that we have done. You can see there's a sleepover in the library and a family art night. You can see a family game night in the upper right-hand corner, a potluck in the bottom left-hand corner. In the middle bottom, you see a picture of a family night where all we did was sit and read together. Those are my favorite kind of family nights. Okay. Another thing, of course, that's important if you're going to build a culture of readers in the community is to have home reading routines established. And the way we do this at St. Croix Falls Elementary School is all teachers share the expectation that home reading, choice reading, we don't tell kids what they have to read, but we do say it is at our school, it is a non-negotiable that every student goes home and reads for 20 minutes minimum each night. And of course, lots of students read more. But the idea is that we set a norm for the community. And in our community in St. Croix Falls, everybody reads at home every single day. And to make that happen, we do monitor it pretty carefully. I'm the school librarian, like I said, but I'm involved with all my kids. I love all 400 of them, and I love every teacher I serve in the school. And so I make it my business to call homes frequently. I try and call 1 to 2 parents a day just to see how home reading is going, to see if kids are needing help finding books that they like, or if parents need a reminder about where they can get books, or about holding kids accountable to the routine. For the most part, I think students are honest about the reading they do. And they will tell me if they're not reading and come and ask me. I keep book bags in the LMC, the School Library Media Center, that I get from thrift stores, just bags of books so that kids can take home books. And if they lose them, I won't be crushed because they cost 25 cents at the Goodwill or the local Family Pathways. And they take those books home so that they always have books to read. We have what's called the Book Boutique, and I'll share that with you a little bit later, but it's a free bookstore in what used to be my office in the back of the library. Again, I just want to point out the reason we share this with you is because it's social learning. In St. Croix Falls, reading is just what we do. The way we celebrate that in schools is with a Look Who's Reading bulletin board. All year, I ask parents, again, we're all connected on Facebook. So all year, I ask parents if they wouldn't mind just taking snapshots of their kids reading at home. And they send in beautiful pictures of kids cuddled up in their beds, or at the beach, or with their stuffed animals, just, wherever they're reading, the parents will send me pictures. And then I keep a bulletin board in the hallway. You can see it in the upper right portion of the slide. I keep a bulletin board in the hallway that says, "Look who's reading," and the kids love to see their friends and themselves reading at home. And you can see there's even a cat there. They send me pictures of their pets reading, which is darling. The Book Boutique. So again, in the back of my library, I once had an office, but decided I didn't want it. I wanted to be out and about with the kids and teachers. And so what I did was scoured thrift stores, ask for donations, and then I even wrote to the author James Patterson, who was incredibly kind and sent us some grant money. And I filled that room up with all kinds of wonderful thrift store books. And the kids, when they meet their reading goals, they set personal reading goals. If you're interested in that, you can tweet me and I can send you more information on how we do our goal setting program. The kids set personal reading goals, and when they meet their goals, they get to come shop for books. And those are their books to take home and keep forever and ever. And they love the chance to get into the Book Boutique. Show you some pictures there of the boutique. One great place to get books if you're looking for cheap first run books or brand new books is, I put the link for First Book. It's www.firstbook.org. And it's a really great organization that sells books below cost. In fact, if you're a Title I school, you can get new titles for free. All you do is pay shipping. So that's a great place to check out. The idea here is that we turbocharge reading. We get books into the community because kids met their reading goals. So the prize you get for reading is books and more reading. If you're interested in hearing more about that, you might check out session 2 Donald Miller and Travis Crowder did. They talked also about ways to find books to give to kids. Okay. Another great idea, something we just started experimenting with this year, is QR codes. And QR codes are super easy to use. All you need to do is get a free QR code maker. The generator that I shared with you linked here is the one that I use. And then what you do is you can take anything you're working on in class and make a QR code and put it in your newsletter. You can see that in the upper right-hand corner. The way we've been using it is to send home that newsletter with a QR code that shows, that is a link to book we read in class. So let's say we're focusing on the character trait of respect. We might have that link to a video of a book being read aloud about respect. A great place to find those books is Storyline Online, where Screen Actor Guild members, so famous actors and actresses, read children's books to kids. That's been incredibly popular because now parents, not only do parents have a sense of what's going on in the classroom, but kids get to share their reading day with their parents through stories. And I think it encourages home reading in a way we otherwise hadn't. Okay. This is bordering, now we're getting into some more challenging ideas. Slanting your classroom. There's a lot of talk about the flipped classroom these days, and there are a lot of things we love about the flipped classroom. The one thing I don't necessarily love about it is that not all kids have access to computers at home. So we do what we call slanting the classroom. And the way we slant the classroom is we take videos of kids, like you see in the upper left-hand corner, of ourselves. You can see John, my husband, talking to my students, and other teachers talking about reading initiatives, sharing information about reading goals at home, and also showing kids, spotlighting kids in their reading lives at school. We only have 5 more minutes, so I'm just going to share with you 2 quick things, and then I'm going to tell you these are both really, really hard ideas. So if you do decide you're interested in trying some harder ideas, then you can download all the information at our wiki site or contact me. Total edudork. I love to talk education anytime. Reading Friends is a program where we have retirees come in and read with students every day. They work with 70 below-level readers. We don't have a lot of data that shows it's really impactful on student achievement, but again, it's great PR for the school community, and it makes reading the social norm. We also partner with local community literacy organization, Northern Waters Learning, to do a summer reading initiative. If you're interested in learning more about Stopping Summer Slide, you're going to want to check out session 2 by Stephanie Schwab. Our program was so successful, it not only stopped Summer Slide, but the kids who were involved actually improved as readers over the summer, which is wonderful. Okay, we're almost out of time here. I thank you for sticking with us through the early technical difficulties. I want to say thank you to the Ed Lab, to Carolyn, who has been wonderful as our tech support, the SCF community, who we love, to serve as teachers and to have as friends and family, and to all of you who are with us. I want to recommend this book, Your School Rocks. It shares practical ideas for getting your good news out into the community. And with that, I'm going to say thank you so much. We sure appreciate your taking the time to hang out with us and learn about how we work with the community. Thanks.
Thanks, Rita. Thanks, John. I know I definitely learned a lot about getting the community and kids engaged in reading throughout the year. Lots of very innovative ideas that I'm sure we can all take away and use right away. Thanks so much. And thanks to all of you who joined us today. Do stay for the closing session. We have it coming up soon, so I hope you stay for that. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.